if it's a prestige school, there's that pressure to perform at a certain level, and when they don't, they might feel incompetent or maybe something is wrong with them.
Some parents just don't know how to parent outside of providing food and clothing and shelter.
Parents are like the first line of communication, socialization, teaching you time management, how to deal with certain situations, maybe how to approach situations in school, even the mental health challenges. And when it's not there, sometimes a simple thing like, how was your day at school?
Maybe there should be something for parents as well, like a training session for parents to deal with, to help better understand mental health issues at this time we're living in now.
What are the most common mental health challenges faced by students and teachers today?
I think with students, burnout, and depending on which school they're at, if it's a prestige school, there's that pressure to perform at a certain level, and when they don't, they might feel incompetent or maybe something is wrong with them. So having to deal with that.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to what I was thinking, like anxiety.
Yes.
Because we in this information age, and it comes with a lot of benefits, Google, YouTube, social media. But at the same time, the flip side of that is you have this comparison syndrome.
Yeah.
And so your results are not just your results now, it's everybody, everything you do, basically, there's a comparison. You're going to hike, there's a comparison, your mountain higher than mine, so it's like, it brings about a lot of anxiety. So, yeah.
I think that's interesting too that you bring up social media as well, because that plays a big part, I believe, in students, especially at this time, this age that they have now, where some, as you say, quick to post.
Yeah.
Some might post who excel in academics. They may be posting their results and stuff, and children who not really so up there with them, and they would see these things and compare themselves, and it might lead to depression, anxiety to try to reach somewhere where their learning abilities may not be the same as others and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's what happens to with most students as well.
And I think with all of that, with all of the mental health issues, there's always that stigma and misrepresentation, because the reality is it comes about in different forms. Simple things like what you all are saying, or maybe the things that we choose to eat, the way that we speak, is small things, but there's this stigma against it that mental health challenges are not real. And I feel like once we get over that, it will help students a bit, because some of them are afraid to voice their opinion, whether it's to be friends, people in the education system, to parents, that they do have this issue. Because back in our days, there was nothing like mental health issues.
Yeah.
You went to school, you did all of it, that was expected, that was the workload, it was hard.
Yeah.
But after the pandemic, there's so much knowledge about it, and we're seeing that it is an actual issue.
Yeah, because even I could think of myself when I was in secondary school or primary school, and you come home and if you tell your parents, I'm depressed, they'll be like, what? Depressed?
What is depression?
What is it?
I think that's another big one, like depression is another thing a lot of teachers and students are facing.
Yes.
That stems partly from the anxiety and the comparison. And you're seeing a few students who go to the extreme of cutting and stuff like that. So as teachers, that's something you really have to be mindful of now.
As you mentioned that, cutting, like harming themselves, that existed long time now, but now we have a better idea because of social media information on free for us to use. We're not, no, that's mental health and you need to deal with that as a form of depression, so yeah.
I think coming out of the pandemic and the extensive use of social media, it fosters this attitude of isolation, being by yourself. And when you're by yourself and you are experiencing a mental issue, that's the worst place to be.
Yeah.
You have to find somebody, not something, but someone to relate to, someone to talk to. Yeah, and express yourself.
I think what immediately came to mind when you said that, Kelly, is community. That sense of community, because A lot of times, Instagram, etc., gives you a false sense of community that I know you, that you are my friend, and stuff like that. But we really need that genuine community to kind of get better, as you said. Well, I think a big one for teachers may be burnout, because you're in a place where the syllabus is always getting bigger, but the time remains the same. And you still have that pressure from administration and from parents to get the results. So a lot of times, you experience burnout, and you have your own other family or other things that you need to do. So a lot of times you feel your own sense of anxiety and burnout as teachers as well,
Because I think heavily on the anxiety, because a student versus a teacher, it's almost the same in terms of it, because we are humans, we have our personal experiences. And then when you're in front of the students, you have to put on this face and this mask because they need a particular atmosphere and climate and everything for them to understand. But we have anxiety as well.
Yeah, and you can't show that. They could show it, but you can't show how angry you are or how frustrated you are, and you can't say what you really want to say.
Yeah, because I guess as teachers we are held at a certain standard.
Yes.
So we kind of have to be censored in a way.
Yes.
So for your sake, well, for most that you have to take the students into consideration, and as they say, students always come first. So. And also you're dealing with students, you want to also be mindful, because students have these challenges as well, these mental health challenges. And you may have your own, but you want to step carefully, taking into consideration their challenges as well. So it's tough, the anxiety. That's where the anxiety would come in.
I think for me, sometimes it's imposter syndrome, because I know my ability, I know what I'm capable of. But there are just some students in the classroom who just don't care at all. They're just there because they're just there. And
Forced to be there.
Yeah, and you try with them. You try your best. You try to encourage them. But and then you end up thinking, there's something wrong with me. Am I a bad teacher? And you just have to realize that there will always be one student or more that has an attitude. And nothing is wrong with me at the end of the day.
You did your best.
Yes.
Yeah, I did my best, and it's up to them now to take responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the anxiety and that comes into play when you're dealing with a student with a different learning ability, right? And you may not have as much experience with that particular one, and you're trying different methods. And in that moment, you're trying to control your emotions, control your anxiety, but still deliver the information, still ensure that they understand. So it does come up in the classroom setting itself.
A coping mechanism for me, find an outlet, to be creative or to do something. I like to bake, so that allows me to be creative. I like playing video games to unwind, watching anime, but a big part of it is my spiritual life and my spiritual community. They are very supportive. It's a really good, healthy group to have, and then just knowing that they have your back is such a great encouragement for me.
Yeah, I think the support, all-round support benefits in terms of mental health benefits to teachers and students as well.
Yes.
So yeah.
How does the absence of parental involvement affect a student's mental health and academic performance?
So there was a case in the school that I was at. There was a student, he was performing really well, but then his parents got divorced. And his academics just plummeted.
Wow.
Yeah. So, he's brilliant,
Yeah.
but just that split and that separation, that affected him tremendously, to the point of his academics.
That's a huge one, because your parents, especially at that age, give you that sense of belonging and just that sense of support, as you were talking about before. So that kind of amplifies anything you was feeling. If you feel that sense of comparison, it amplifies the comparison, it amplifies the anxiety or any depression or anything like that. So it's really to find that parental figure that could kind of come in, because in the absence of that, as you said, things could really go down really quickly. And it is one of the most important things in terms of the education system, having that parental support.
Yeah.
I think it's also really hard now for parents to dedicate time to their kids now. Seeing that times it's so hard now. Now at this time, both parents work.
Yeah.
Most students, both parents work, so they don't really have that time to spend with their kids daily. When they come home, they're tired. So it's the support. I understand how it could be lacking, but also it's a sacrifice you have to put in for your children.
Yeah. It's finding the balance.
Yeah, finding the balance.
Because a lot of times you find that parents think that taking care of a child is giving them food, clothing, shelter, they're alive.
Yeah.
Sending them to school.
And a lot of times we say, some parents just don't know how to parent. I don't know if that needs to be some kind of thing that we teach or something, but some parents just don't know how to parent outside of providing food and clothing and shelter.
Yeah, because the parents are like the first line of communication, socialization, teaching you time management, how to deal with certain situations, maybe how to approach situations in school, even the mental health challenges. And when it's not there, sometimes a simple thing like, how was your day at school?
Yeah.
Knowing that, okay, well, they had a project or an exam. How was your exam? How did you feel? And I think it shows when it's not there. I can't say personally because my mom was really involved in my education, but it shows sometimes when you come home from school and they're like, how was your exam? Did you finish your project? Did everyone come on time? Simple conversation things can be done with your child just to show them that you are there.
And you can tell the difference in students when the student has a proper family background, their family supports them, compared to a student that doesn't have that support. It shows in their academics as well.
Always.
So
Yeah. I think parents, like you said, you're the first line of contact and socialization. Parents need to be their children's biggest fans in everything, and in particular academics.
And I also think now parents, the lack of it, what they can do is we're living in a world of information as well. So parents should be able to do some research
What
on
resources and strategies
simple mental
can
health
schools
challenges that
implement to
kids
better
in general would be
support the
facing, so
mental
that they could be
health
aware of these
students and
little
teachers?
signs, so that they can pick up on if
What
their kid has a
resources
mental
and
health
strategies
challenge
can
that
schools
they're going through, so
implement
they could
to
seek
better support
the help and
the
pay more
mental
attention to
health?
their kids as well.
Yeah, YouTube, Google.
Everything is
So use it for good.
Yeah.
What resources and strategies can schools implement to better support the mental health of students and teachers?
Well, at my school, we have a guidance counselor, and he is very interactive with the students. He will meet with them in their classroom. They might have a period set aside for them. They also bring in persons to teach them. They might have workshops. And I know that the ministry is implementing this cross-cultural transformation to all the schools. So it's really to promote non-academic attitudes, ideas, to foster this holistic students and not just zone in on schoolwork.
Yeah.
'Cause that can really wear and tear on a student.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was not about to say too, extracurricular activities,
Yes.
like just being outside. You have like your hiking clubs and you have like photography, like whatever they feel passionate about as a way to develop their own skills and just to be doing something that they enjoy.
And helping the students figure out what is their best form, because maybe one of them may not like outdoor activities, but what can they do personally indoors or with the resources that they have and what they are allowed to do that can help them.
I think teachers need to be aware of their students' interests. So back in my day, didn't have an anime or Asian culture club, but there is one
There is.
at the school that I'm at, and I think that's just terrific.
Yeah.
And it's a way for students to see their teachers outside of the classroom.
Yeah, so that they could connect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Better connect with them. Yes. And
And I
see
think-
that they're relatable.
And I think it helps the teachers also because you also get to do something you enjoy. You get to engage with your students in a different way. You get to know them.
Yeah.
And it helps when you get back to the classroom.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I think I think someone mentioned too, maybe there should be something for parents as well, like a training session for parents to help better understand mental health issues at this time we're living in now,
Right.
so that they will be able to again identify the triggers or be able to pinpoint, okay, my daughter or son isn't too right today, maybe I should put more time and effort into him or her and see how best I could help them.
Having an open conversation with their children and put aside any predispositions, any understanding or things that you may have heard about something, and just have that open conversation, and just ensure that your child can come to you if they are experiencing something. So it's about being open, especially in the times that we're living in. There are other outlets that students can go to for counseling, but you want to ensure that you can get involved in speaking with them.
Yeah, I think communication is a big one. Communicating, putting aside time just to communicate it could be on the way home while you're driving in traffic or something. Just that general, as you said, how was the exam, how you going, communicate to them, encourage them to be outside, not be inside all the time watching a screen. Encourage them to be outside, get some sunlight.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah.
And lead by example.
Yeah.
So don't
Yeah.
always say, well, go outside and play. Let's go
go hang out
outside
with
and
them
do
too, right?
something.
Yeah.
Go with them. Go with them.
Understand your child's love language.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
And
so-
your
yeah.
love language
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, so for me, it's time, spending time with someone, interacting with them. That really goes a long way.
Yeah.
And let's say, like how you said, you like anime and those things. Maybe your child would really appreciate if you watch one episode a week with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think spending quality time with your kids is a big thing.
Outside of the academics.
Outside of academics, for sure.
Yes.
Like, Sundays, back in the day Sundays was beach day.
Yeah, beach. Yeah.
You go on the
Sunday,
beach. Yeah.
But like, as I say, time now is different in terms of working, and everything is time consuming in terms of working, but once you think about it, the sacrifices have to be made for your children.
Yeah, and just to add to the communication, also teaching your child how to communicate, as you said, by example, but also teaching your child to communicate with God. First of all, you communicate with God, because sometimes with all the YouTube and Google, you still need that strength from God and that guidance from Him. So, pray about it, and then, pray with your child also. I've really seen that help, in a lot of cases.
Yeah.